as we finish the conference today, we're going to do a wrap-up session in a moment. And so I'd like to ask John King Belisai to join me up here. But I think that's a challenge for all of us to think about trying to take forward. And I'd love to see a traveling exhibit and to be doing it. And I think, as you'll agree, Peter Wilson is an ideal person to broker it and to work and to lead on this. And so
I'm going to kind of use my prerogative to ask to the young guys who we've been interacting with, Ethan and Sean, who also join us for this wrap up, because we've been talking about including young folks.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about them, but let's talk with them about them.
All right.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, but
that's
yes, you do. Well, neither one of you are shy, so I know you can handle it.
So, Bill, would you like to maybe start us off with some impressions from your side?
Well, I'm very pleased with all that we've done, and I think we covered some excellent points about getting together, how we need to communicate more, and recognizing what the process is. Um, Marjorie Stewart pointed out something with her feelings about her emotive feelings about being part of the community, and it reminded me of being at the Cassock booth and doing some lookup for people for what family or clan family or where something about them with regards to Scotland. And this young lady just shifted, and there was a way that she had moved that made me look up, and she said, "I just want to belong." And it was just something that was just so intense, and I realized that's what this is about. We need to belong. We need to feel useful. We need to belong. We have to have hope. And believe me, when you're dealing with who we are as with our Scottish heritage, um, there's all that there. And we just have to keep doing things like this and finding ways to help all of our diaspora belong.
And one of the things that was also mentioned is that there are some organizations that do need to, and it's important to them, to have the heritage and the roots as a very central part of why people become members. But there are other organizations who say, if you love Scotland, you can join us, which is like the one I'm involved in, the American Scottish. And all these other dance and music, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you love to dance and you love Scotland, you can join, and with your music and the boys and with the Scots. And I think that's important too. So what are some of your feelings from you two? Ethan, Sean.
I thought yesterday's discussions about creating a directory where all this information can be spread more easily, and I thought that was like breaking really good ground, and I thought we should really make that happen, because there was just a lot of things that everybody learned that we should have already known, and I think it should just be made more available in that form of whatever that form takes, so in a directory.
It started. The directory's going.
Good.
But it's now to, as we said,
disseminate
and add these extra layers.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. Just tagging out of that, I agree. There's a lot of things that we didn't know about. There's organizations that not everybody knows about until they suddenly find out about it. And it's having directories, having these connections, and having to understand the balance between, we have clan societies and other societies that are about, this is my roots, these are, this is what makes us together. And then we like Scotland, we just like the history or the music or the culture, or the genealogy. And we all need to recognize that if we all like Scotland, we should all be collaborating to try and, create that pipeline back and forth between the home country and here.
And John, what would you like to add to that?
Well, the themes that motivate me and that I think we tried to stress this year were continuity and inclusiveness. We had Jim Ambusky yesterday talking about the roots of Scottish settlement in North America and how that survived the American Revolution and moved to Canada. Scots very resilient and risk takers, both over there and over here. And I think that's a theme for American Scots and diaspora Scots generally. Okay, so that's kind of the beginning, and that's part of continuity. But here we are in 2023, and we all value those origins and those building blocks. But now we're at a point of generational change. There's no reason to not say it. Many of us in this room, 10, 15 years from now, will not be here. Either we'll be in a wheelchair in a retirement home, or we'll be in the happy hunting grounds. Okay. So who's going to carry the torch? These two guys and many like them. So as Bill has said, Bill calls it a pipeline, and that I think is a good image. We have to grapple with this. We have to deal with bringing on the next generation and the generation behind them. And that means mentoring them, imparting our knowledge, but it also means letting them do their thing, which is scary and a little messy sometimes. But that's the way that's got to be. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I think we've hit those themes. We've talked about what a lot of young people are doing already on the creative side. And that's certainly a door through which they can come to the greater Scottish diaspora experience, which involves art and culture and history and the things that we all do in clan societies, St. Andrews societies, and Caledonian clubs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a process. You have to really expose people to those things. Music and dance is a way to do it. Literature is a way to do it. Film is a way to do it. IT and web support is a way to do it. As I said the other day, if you need a webmaster in your society, go get yourself a young person who loves to do that as a way that they can learn and become appreciated for their skills. And the next thing you know, you're going to find them enmeshed in many other things you do. That's my point.
And it's not impossible. I mean, we've been, at ASF, we've been managing to do what we do because we reached out to one of the colleges, and we've now been, for the last 3 years, doing part-time students and graduates from there who have writing and film and different skills that we need in people, because we need different skills now for our organizations too, to help us. So any questions from our audience? Any thoughts or ideas? How are you, for instance, Mark, you have the Washington Tattoo. How are you looking to engage the younger people? I think last year I saw you were reaching out to schools.
Yeah, so I doesn't know me, my name is Mark Riley. I was a sergeant major at the Old Guard fighting drum corps, part of the presidential escort for 20 years here at DC. I was a acting commander of one of the premier army bands here at DC. It was a Royal and Purple Spectacular place. And what we started to do is get into the music education aspect.
So we need to ask you to come up here and to just say a few brief words into a microphone so we get it recorded. But Mark has started a new initiative here over the last couple of years of a tattoo based out of Washington. And but I was noticing that you really were making a great effort to engage with with schools as well.
All right. No, thank you very much. The Washington Tattoo Initiative actually started with Sir Melville Jameson, the producer of the Edinburgh Tattoo from 95 to 2010. And there was always a huge outreach to either hospitals, youth hospitals, children's hospitals, or educational institutions, schools, primary, secondary, and university level. And what we did last year is we connected with DC Public Schools, and we connected with actually the Joe Gibbs Foundation as well. They have a group called Youth for Tomorrow, and it's all underprivileged students and at-risk youth. And so what we decided to do is grab drumsticks, drummers, pipers, dancers, and then just bring them into the schools. And we played for about 1,000 DC public school kids last year. And at the end of the semester, they actually drew pictures and wrote about the experience. And most of their annual memories were the Highland dancing and the Highland pipes and drums. So these kids who have never really been exposed to Highland music, Scottish music, really fell in love with it. And that was the idea of just providing opportunity to students that may have nothing else going well in their life. A lot of these kids were involved in not great home situations, not great public school situations, and just by introducing music and the arts to their lives really gave them a fantastic outlet and something to be proud of. So that's our methodology.
And that works very well into what you're also doing. And Ethan, just as we close up, tell us a little bit about the Scouts.
Yeah, so I've been asked to serve as the interim president of the newly formed Scottish Heritage Scouting Association, which is basically working alongside as a independent nonprofit to bring together the various Scouting Highland games and basically bring Scottish culture into and put it into a curriculum and education and awards program structured to work alongside Scouts BSA, which has programs for youth of all ages and genders within the United States. It's the official youth organization of the United States. And it's basically, doing what you said, making sure that anybody who is interested in the culture or just, showing it off, trying to get the young people involved and making sure that there are no barriers to that, be they financial or isolation and things like that. So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
And so I think we were good. And please look for, we will reach out to all of you who've joined us on Zoom with links and different bits of information. Our website is going to stay updated, and we will be back to you with news and updates on our next year's conference very shortly. And did somebody have a question for us? Oh, yes. Before we leave this evening, I believe our chief, Madam Pauline Hunter, would like to say a few closing words.
We were going to let you sit here. So
No, I'm not going to sit. I'm going to stand.
If you say.
Okay. Well, a few years ago, I was invited by the Society of William Wallace to go look at a very ancient old piece of tree. So I followed them, Graham and I followed them into this dingy, huge warehouse, and at the far end was this absolutely enormous piece of wood, which it was dark brown, it looked very, very old. So we had long discussions, and it suddenly came to light that the warehouse was about to be sold. So it is said that William Wallace was chained to the very tree that we were looking at in Port Glasgow after being taken captive at Dumbarton, before being handed over to the English troops to be then taken down to London, to the Tower of London, and hastily executed by Edward I, because he was so frightened of the Scots rising up against him. So the Society of William Wallace asked us if we could provide at Hunterston Castle a permanent home for what is known as the Wallace Oak. So we agreed to that. They've done dendrochronology, and as far as they can tell, no, the lady I talked to, the dendrochronologist, has said that tree was standing at the time that William Wallace was captured. So as far as we know, this legend is true, because each year, and this has happened for centuries, they put a chain, not each year, but they put a chain round the Wallace oak. And every time it overgrew, they put another chain round it. Now, all the oaks in the vicinity were cut down, but not this one. So I would like to present, on behalf of Clan Hunt and the Society of William Wallace, John Bellassai, a piece of the Wallace oak.
Thank you so much.
Camilla, a piece of the Wallace oak. And also to support our younger members, Ethan and sure. Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
This is going into our archive. I can see Michael Reed immediately taking it and writing everything up about it.
The Society of William Wallace have a website if you want to know more. That's wonderful.
So thank you all, and please, to those here in the room with us, let's do a toast to SNACC and to Scotland, and thank you all for being with us. Thank you.